Welcome to the Village of Buchanan, April 6, 2022 budget hearing. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we'll be discussing the 2022-2023 budget. Marcus did give us an overview at the March workshop. I'm just going to go over a few summary items. The tax rate increase proposed right now is 12.76%. The tax rate increase of 68.21 per thousand of assessed value. Increase for the average household, increase of $299 for this fiscal year, or broken down to $24.95 per month. Taxable value decrease of $121,214, or 1.7%, which is equivalent to $64,820 in taxes. Increase in total expenditures of 4.8%. Decrease in revenues of 0.67%. Entergy revenue loss of $597,758, or 7.82%. We recoup money from the cessation fund of $495,302. There's a water rate increase. Let's see what we can do with that. I'm not sure, and that's due to Entergy not purchasing the water and us not making money on that water. Holtec is not using that much water. The proposed increase is 25.3%, $164 per year, or 82 semi-annually. And then I'm just going to go over some of the tentative expenditures, some major changes to expenditure forecast. The increase in retirement contributions for employees is $26,720. Increase in retirement contributions for the police is $92,360. And increase in medical insurance contributions, $102,628. So just to give a little overview of what's going on with our budget. So I'm going to open it up to the board now. If they have any questions or comments on this budget. I have a few, but I'll let the board go first. Anybody?
Sure. Start on page 15.
All right, thanks, Sean.
So on page 15, on the summary of revenues, there's been some changes, and I was just a little confused about it. It says use of money and property. There's an increase. We didn't get anything last year, and we're projecting 10,000 for next year. I just wondering what that is.
What page are you referring to?
It's on page 15. It says use of money and property. There was 0 received up until 2 weeks ago, and we're requesting 10,000 for that. So, do you know what?
No. I'm looking on the side.
He said use of money. So if we only got 3,000, why are we doing 10?
Oh, it's down towards the middle section.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Look at the
Yeah.
history on that one.
Okay.
Looking at the history. Yeah. Oh, that's all. Oh, I see what he's talking
Yeah.
about.
Oh, okay.
I have to go to the detail
To the
revenues.
detail, right.
Give me just 1 minute. I got to the detail revenues.
All right, well, there's a couple of things on that one, like compensation for losses and miscellaneous also. And I had a question on the state aid on a firm number, so.
Oh, yeah, that's interest earnings. Yeah, what happened was,
So we're gonna receive $10,000 interest this year, and we didn't receive any last year?
what do you have so far for interest earnings so far? Because as of this day, it wasn't booked in the system, that's why. Last year, we received 18,000 in
And then
interest.
you budgeted for 3,000, and then it says 0, and now it says 10,000.
2401. interest earnings. Yeah. Probably missing the book and the entry, because that's the interest earnings that we get from the general fund for the the interest in the bank interest. That's why she hasn't booked it yet.
Well, last year we only got $3,000 for it, where,
No, that's what was budgeted. We actually got last year, 2021, 18,000.
okay,
800.
So that's interest.
18,000, yeah. So that's, and I think that's a low number based on,
Okay.
on amount, that's correct.
so no, I didn't understand what that was and why we go from 0 to 10.
Understood.
Also, under compensation for losses, we received $34,000 up until last week, and we're only anticipating getting 10,000 now. And in 2020, we received 32,000, so why are we having a 60% decrease in that revenue line?
Looking at the
It's 3 down from my last question.
Under fines and forfeitures.
The other compensation for this?
And what's the amount you're looking for again?
Well, it says we received $34,000 up until St. Patrick's Day, and now we're only
Yeah,
gonna
that's this one.
anticipate 10,000.
Yeah, but that way, we had 34,000, 26,000 was due to the sale of all the equipment that we sold.
Okay, you got it.
So I'm not anticipating selling anything this year.
Sure. And the federal aid, or the state aid,
Mhm.
is that a firm number?
Yes.
Okay, so we've had an increase of $300,000 in state aid? Actually, more than that.
More than that.
Yeah, it's about, was that
The state, that's the
$500,000?
cessation fund.
So we've had an increase in contribution from the cessation fund.
Cessation fund, we're going from 773,000 to 1,093,000. 1,095,000, sorry. That's the exact number for the cessation fund. Because remember the first year, I budgeted 600,000?
Yeah, I remember that was an
Not
estimate because we didn't have a firm number at the budget time because we didn't get the approval. So I thought every year we had to get the approval, but if we have the approval now, that's a firm number.
Correct, and I have a
Okay.
spreadsheet, in my spreadsheet, my estimate was
Sure.
correct. So now we have a firm number. So that $1,095,302 is what we should be getting this year.
Great.
And this will be the second year of the
Correct.
cessation fund money.
Correct.
On page 18, on the total legislative budget, in 2020, 2021, we had 102,300, but this year we're only requesting $35,000. Why was there such a big difference there?
That mostly based, that we had a large expense last year, 78,000. You can maybe find that out.
That 78,000 is listed someplace else also.
It's
That
other
78,000
expenses.
was the, I think that was the Siemens. Oh, no, that was 65,000.
No, 65, that was something else, yeah. We're gonna be looking at 10, 4.
Would it be better if we talked about this tomorrow or something?
Yeah, whatever, yeah, you could do that, but we can look it up right now.
I don't want to take up everybody else's time.
And you have the different line numbers and
anything
everything,
big?
Sean, that they could
460.
look
Yeah,
up?
it's under the total
Okay.
legislative budget, A 1010, 100. It's,
78,000, so it should be
uh,
just be
the
20.
2021 budget was 102,000, and then we had 35,000, now we have 35. I was just wondering why there was such a perturbation over the last
Yeah, the
2
biggest
years,
di-
and if we can
Yeah,
anticipate
the
it.
biggest difference was that we were budgeting in contractual expenses about 10, 11,000, but then that 2021, we had a big expense of 78,000, we're looking that up.
Okay.
So I just went back to what we were in the past.
All right, so you don't anticipate another line for a big expense?
It was Siemens, it was
Okay,
Siemens.
Siemens.
Yep, that's
See,
what it
but
was.
we only paid them 65,000, I thought, because it was negotiated down,
55.
55.
And then the
So
rest of it was other expenses. Anything else in there was
The
pretty big?
usual 12,
Yeah, nothing else. Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
probably the standard 12 that you have
Exactly.
every year.
Yep,
The personal services for the court, we're budgeting 30,900. I thought we were actually gonna go higher than that because we had somebody else come on and we were gonna pay a couple other people. I know that it is a $8,000 increase from last year. Is it $8,000? No, it's the same, actually.
it's the same, yes.
Yeah, it's actually, yeah. So I thought we were gonna increase that because,
do you
the
remember-
justice had requested salary.
She only requested for the time that she spent. She didn't request her pay raise.
No, I know the time that she
Yeah.
spent, but we also brought somebody else in, remember?
Well, that hasn't happened yet,
Well, we should budget for it.
but again, she only wanted her for like 6 weeks, so it's not, we're not
Okay.
talking a lot of money.
Yeah.
So that could still fit within this year's budget,
Yeah,
what
I would
she's,
say,
And the other line
Close,
items,
yeah.
other expenses, we can cover that.
right,
Okay,
So she's, like we discussed, she's gonna be here for like a couple weeks and that's it, just to catch up.
yeah.
It's a temporary,
okay.
yeah.
okay, good.
On page 21, where we're talking about the attorney's fees. I know we had spoken about it, Marcus. For the negotiations of the contract for the police department, that was 45,000? Is that what we talked about?
I don't,
It's on law, page 21.
yeah, we have budgeted 55,000 for any kind of outside legal fees.
Okay, but that is gonna include the John Doe as well as contract negotiations.
That's correct.
So that 55,000 is very low.
It is, but like we discussed, with this money contingency to cover any major expenses that might come above that number.
And since we're in litigation, I think it's appropriate not to really get too far into the numbers on this. I mean,
Just to relieve your concern, there's money set aside in contingency for any kind of additional expenses. I didn't want to bump up the number too much and then increase taxes if I have money set away for contingency to cover that. I don't want to discuss the detail of the numbers, but I think we have enough money in contingency to cover any kind of.
Well, we're
additional
just talking
expenses.
about litigation costs, we're not talking about settlements.
Correct. So based on the estimate we got from the other attorney,
Yeah.
there's still money left over in there. I don't think it's gonna be much more after that amount of money that we have to cover.
Well, we know our labor attorney, we know how much he's been costing. And, you know, for 2021, we spent 23,000 for the labor attorney. In 2020, we spent $36,000 for the labor attorney. And we're gonna have to spend at least that. Well, if everybody agrees to take it out of a contingency fund instead of budgeting up front.
That would be my
that'd fine.
recommendation.
Okay. And on page 23, personal services, we had spent $55,000 in 2021 and 22. We've already spent $51,000 as of, the first line, 16, 20, 100. Why are we only going for $30,000 now? We've never even come close to that.
Is that part of, but that should only be, that shouldn't be 10.
Oh, that's Tim.
That's 10, but we didn't spend $51,000. 10 was that?
When he retired.
Oh. So there was, when did he retire?
Oh, no, he didn't retire until end of July. So that's half his salary.
Okay, so half his salary, and now, the amount of money we put in is now for the part-time person that's working in there.
So this is only for part-time?
That's correct,
Yes.
So there's 30,000 budgeted for the
Correct.
part-time.
correct.
Okay. It just looks strange because in 2020, we spent 97, 21 was 55, and now it's only 30.
And that's when he was full-time, and then,
Okay.
so he's drawing backwards, and then he retired, and we had to pay him out for the retirement, now he's going back down to a full part-time salary.
All right, on page 39. I know we spoke about the ice rink operations and the increase in that budget line. Now, that doesn't include the setup and removal, right? The manpower for that, that's just hiring the attendants?
That's correct,
And any incidental stuff?
that's correct.
Do we actually have an attendance, how many people actually used it, and what it's anticipated to be used? You know, I know we were taking attendance so that we could tell how many residents came and how many non-residents came, and whether we were going to continue to spend money on it. Do we have those
Yeah,
numbers?
we can ask, Nancy, do you hear that question?
Yes, I am. I gave it to you, Marcus, the sheets of the attendance. I actually made copies of them and gave them to you, and the other ones are at my office ready to go back down to the
That's okay, if you just get it to us before we vote on it, so we know whether we should increase that line or decrease it based on the attendance. You know, if there's a lot of
Yeah.
people, we
The
might wanna open up
attendance
another day.
is most popular on Saturday and Sunday, okay? So that's why we stopped doing Fridays.
Okay,
But for the fall, like this weekend, we have it opened on Saturday to anyone who wants to come and try it out. So that for the fall, people know about it, more know about it. They'll see it this weekend because of the Easter egg scramble, which I think is big, letting people come actually and physically view it as well. So I think it will increase in popularity in the fall when we bring it up again and start it. But yes, I can make more copies of those attendance sheets and get them to you.
Nancy, don't worry about it, I'll email the board first thing tomorrow, no problem.
Okay, if you don't have the copies,
I
I'm
have
in tomorrow, so
Yeah.
I'll just redo it, not a big deal.
yeah, well, you can just send it to me, I didn't see
Yeah.
one, I don't,
I understand the town is going to be spending approximately $200,000 for their, where their teen center is, to put in an ice skating rink, so.
Synthetic.
Right, but
Synthetic.
Theirs is gonna be different than ours. It's a higher maintenance one. And it's, I don't know what the material is though, but.
Bob would know.
it's a different material.
Yeah,
It's completely different, yeah.
yeah, Bob actually had a discussion with the town, so it's interesting.
Yeah. We'll see where it goes.
All righty.
And that hasn't been approved or budgeted for either.
In the town?
No.
Oh, okay.
They're trying to work out the kinks on how to operate it and how to man it and
Mhm.
things like that.
Right.
All right, that's all I have, really.
Okay.
You guys can ask some more questions.
Oh, what did I have here?
Mayor, if you don't mind, I just want to make sure the public knows that most of the department heads are here.
Okay.
So that way, any specific questions from the board for the public can be addressed right to the board
Yeah.
members. I want to thank everybody to be here, especially the fire chiefs who are coming in remotely. Thank you, guys. Oh, and George Palmer's here to answer any questions on sewer, treatment
Okay,
plant, or
good.
DPW stuff. It's
All right,
got
good.
to do with engineering.
And then we have Bob Wheeler, our highway foreman, and our chief, Shane Farrell, is with us in the audience. And then we also have Peter Cook from our building department. building
and don't forget
inspector.
Sharon.
Oh, and Sharon from our office,
Yeah, Sharon.
and that's our big audience here tonight.
That's right.
Okay,
Oh, we have a hand raised when you want to open to the public, so.
okay, sure, yep, in 1 minute, we'll do that. I'm looking at,
Yes.
on page 43, sanitation, as of March 17th, 247, we spent $247,000. The tentative budget is 342.
Yeah, that's 8160, so look at that.
It's, I guess, it's right under
Yeah,
sanitation.
those 8160, so let me get to that.
So, because we have March, we're in April, May, we have a month and a half left in our budget. Because our new budget starts June 1st.
Yeah. So the salaries, same. So I want to compare that. We got a little bit more in repairs.
I'm just saying, it's at 247 as of March 17th, April, May, so that's 2.5 months. It'll reach the 342?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I'm just looking, if you look at the adopted budget, it was 341. The
Okay.
tentative budget is 342. It went up less than $1,000.
Okay, all right.
And I'm hoping to hold on to, but for gas repairs, you know, what's happening with the.
That's the
with
problem.
supply line, I'm hoping we stay the same number.
And even with our road work, I saw that you went up 50,000 on, and that's probably going to be the increase of the expense of the asphalt with the,
Yep.
Did they give you an increase in asphalt?
I put that in there just to be on the safe side.
Okay, but they didn't,
No. That
Okay.
was, they should be, they didn't finish their work from last year, they're supposed to hold on to that number, I'm hoping, but they might come back with an increase based on the.
Oh, they will, definitely.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna.
Everybody's gonna, yep.
Yeah,
And then the gas issue
absolutely.
too.
Yeah, the asphalt prices went up by a ton.
It's gonna get worse too, what's
Yeah.
going on with the embargo with the oil too, it's gonna get worse.
Oh, wow.
Right, Bob? Bob tells me that every day.
Everything is just,
I have one more question, Marcus.
course.
On the debt service, on page 56 and page 51, it's basically the same debt service number, right? 226,420 and 227,420. So there, it's in two different places. Is that the same debt service that you're,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Now, we also had a bond, that's probably about 8 years left for the road on Blakely Avenue, and I don't see any debt service on street maintenance. So
Look
is
at
that
page,
bond
I'm sorry, look
included?
at page 51. That'll give you more detail.
Page 51, yep.
Yeah, that'll give you more detail. You'll see, you see the the budget from last year was 70,000. Do you see that?
Yeah.
It went up to 139.
Yep.
That's the old bond and the new bond.
Okay, so the 139 is the principal for Blakely Avenue, that's old, right?
So 70,000 for, yeah.
And
The new bond that we just approved for the sewer treatment, for the pump station, and all the other things that we approved, yes.
okay, so, okay. You don't have it broken down, the principal for each? Or
I
is
can
it-
get you, there's an amortization tab I can get you.
Well, are we just paying interest on the bond we just took out, or are we paying principal also on the bond we took out? The first one, that'd be the last one.
Yeah, the 70,000 is the principal, the bond interest in the next line, which is 76,000. So the 130 is the principal on the old bond and the new bond, and the 76,000 is the interest on the old bond and the new bond.
Okay, so we are paying principal on both bonds right now?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yes. And then just so everybody knows, and out there, $10,000 is the ban that we took out, and that was for the police vehicles, that the board decided to do that by a ban. That's the 10,000, and it's 1% interest, that's why you see $1,000 there for that one ban.
Marcus, I just had one question.
Of course.
Back on page 43, street cleaning, there was nothing allotted for the year prior. This year is 2,000. Is that for going to an outside contractor to?
Yes,
find-
yes,
Okay.
Bob is working on that right now. Our street sweeper has not, I mean, Bob, you wanna talk about that? I don't wanna take you, I don't wanna take, come to the mic. I gotta show him off a little bit.
I'm sorry, what,
I'm sorry
Mike?
to put you on the spot,
I
Bob.
want you to
Oh,
put,
you need
you
to
gotta
put yours
talk to your
closer.
mic too.
I'm
Come
sorry
to
Do you-
to put you on the spot, Bob.
You know, we should have
It's
left
just I didn't
Bob
see
over here
anything
to sit on the
line
corner,
before
too.
The year before, and I just wanted to understand.
Sorry, Bob.
Okay, is that on?
You can walk
Yeah.
around with that
Is
too.
it
if you
on? No,
want.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna put it on. Our street sweeper, we put out the bid last year because it was no longer operable.
Right.
Maintenance on it, repairs on it. It hasn't been working properly for a long time. And I've been discussing with a couple of vendors of getting one rented that we can drive ourselves. It wasn't looking too good for us, but I got a phone call from the guy today because I did kind of get on him a little bit because he told me he had vehicles like this. And I'm actually expecting to get it delivered by the end of the week.
Great.
And I believe it was about, the number off the top of my head, I think it was like $2,200 for a month.
Oh,
So we
alright.
figured spending that rather than spending $300,000 for a vehicle that's maintenance,
Yep.
all the stuff that we have to worry about on an annual basis, we can take care of this in a month's time and get it done.
Good.
All right?
Yeah.
Great out of the box thinking. Bob did a great
Wow.
job on that one.
Thank you, Bob.
Absolutely.
Good idea. Yep. And that'll take care of all the sand and everything from
The
salt
winter.
from the winter. Good,
Exactly.
good. People will be happy to see that coming out on the street. Okay. Steve, do you have anything?
Yeah, I mean, I had a couple questions on some of the 460 accounts that
Yep.
Marcus and Cindy both helped me with this week. One of the things, looking at the park and maintenance, I know, Marcus, you gave me an answer on that Han Engineering. I guess that had to do with the dock.
Correct, the kayak, correct.
Okay, so that's money that's been expensed already? Is there
Correct.
any work deliverables that's?
George is on the line right now, and I told George, because I know we voted on removing the concrete.
Existing, yeah.
Pad and then going to the kayak. Since we changed administration a little bit, I told George to hold off to see if there's any change in direction. He actually did an application into the DEC in the middle of that process. So I didn't want to go any further unless if the board, I want to make sure this board is comfortable with moving forward. So George, want to give the board an update on what's going on with there and what you think the estimated budget would be?
Thanks, Marcus. Good evening, everyone. Yes, we just actually received some comments back from the DEC, the Army Corps, and the Army Corps of Engineers. They had comments regarding the permit process. we gave the village a capped amount of $3,500, and we can finish the process and keep going, and we can actually get you the numbers that we talked about last year about what the dock would cost, if that's okay with the board.
So the question would be, does the board want to continue with that process, or if we do, then he can move on, or we stop and just leave it the way it is?
The numbers that he's gonna give us is how much it's gonna cost to install a dock with the
Yeah.
parts and everything?
Yeah, George, you're gonna give an estimate to actually replace it, remove the concrete and put the kayak launch there, is that correct?
No, we will put together, we can give you an estimate, and we can put together a bid packet for someone to do it, or unless the village wants to do it in-house. So we can give you a memo updating all that, and give it to the board, and give them the cost, give you guys the costs, and where we're at with the permit, and you can make a decision from there.
And I know one thing, I'm not sure if everybody's been down to Lynx Cove to see our ramp, our boat ramp, but I would highly recommend to go down. It is, whether we go forward or not, I'd like to go forward, but whether we go forward or not, there has to be some type of repair done there. It's very dangerous over there. It's falling apart. It's so.
You got exposed rebar there and everything too, yeah.
So we got to make a decision, does that come out? Or does it, I don't think, George, that can't get repaired, right? There can't be, it have to be low tide, cement thrown in there, and I don't know if it would cure in time before the tide came back up.
Yeah, it's a complicated process. It's not simple, for sure.
There's nothing simple.
Almost sounds like opening up a can of worms.
It does a little bit.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but we don't have the boat ramp in there anymore.
No.
It's just the ramp going down, but not anything a boat can hook up to, like the dock and stuff. We took that out.
Right, and that, it's just the ramp is not in the best shape,
Right, no, yeah, that definitely needs to.
one way or the other, something.
Yes.
Okay.
Are we gonna need any funds to take care of that Peekskill issue we had down there before we do this stuff?
Well, I'll give you an update on that one, just to let new board members know. There was a situation that this part of Lents Cove area, which belongs to the village, supposedly is in the city of Peekskill, around the water's edge. With the approval of the board, we actually did a survey to see where the area was. I submitted that to the city to see if they wanted to release that property to the village. Because under state law, as long as two municipalities agree, you can move the boundaries and you don't have to transfer any cash or anything like that. So I was working with the manager and the assessor. I don't know if you know, but the manager has left. I've been constantly sending, every week, final story, first it was the manager sent it to the assistant sent it to the assessor sent it to the attorney. I went back to the assessor. Now the assessor said it's the manager's hands. I reached out to the manager, but at that time he was leaving. I got a new manager. I called the new manager who's just been appointed, who was the controller, so he's not the new manager.
This is a long story.
Yeah, so I reached out to the new manager to see if we can reawaken that thing and have a discussion with the city council to see if there's any issue for the board, the village board and the city council will have to agree to that transfer of property line. So at this point, there shouldn't be any expenditure. The only expenditure might be to redo the property lines to hopefully show that to the village. But I'm not there yet because I don't know if the city's gonna agree to it yet.
And the only reason why I bring that up, one might be contingent upon the other. So if we can get that property, maybe we could put a whole package together to revitalize it, and that's right in the area where we're talking about putting in a kayak launch. So I'd hate to expend these funds knowing that part of it is
It went in the
gonna be
city.
right into the city of Peekskill.
You make a good point there,
So-
because, yeah, because right now we're assuming that we don't have to go to the city for permission. We should be, because it's within the city of Peekskill.
Yeah, but it's not ours,
That's right.
So maybe we should just get the estimates from George, don't expend any more funds on that until we get clarification from the city of Peekskill. Once we annex that land, if the board, if everybody
Right.
else agrees,
Yeah,
once we annex that land, move that property line, then we can go forward with any improvements. But we could always do some emergency repairs. I think that would be within our purview without having to ask for that permission, because we can classify anything as emergency and fix it.
Correct.
As long
But
as
then
there's-
again,
Agreed.
why, if, I don't know, it's, if we could temporarily patch it, because if they're not gonna release it, then they're gonna have to fix it.
No, don't forget, the village owns the property.
Oh, that's right, it's just,
You
it's
own
the
the
city of
property.
Peekskill.
It's in there, so
Yes,
if we were to
yeah,
do improvements
yeah.
to it, we would
own
need
it,
their
but it's
permission.
there.
Correct.
But we
Yeah.
could do a repair to it to make it safe,
Yeah, we wanna
because
make
if
it
somebody
safe.
gets hurt, it's
Yeah.
not only us that's liable, it's the city of Peekskill, because it's
Yep.
in their city.
Right.
So I don't think they'd have an issue with us fixing it.
No,
I
yeah, I
don't
don't
think
think
so
You
so,
know,
yeah.
maybe improving it, they might have an issue
Yeah.
with,
Right.
you know. but-
Yeah, and I don't, I think everybody believed that that wouldn't, it was in the village boundaries, because we owned the property. My concern came up when we started looking at Indian Point and Harold Tech. I say, okay, if that property ever gets redeveloped in some way, I don't want the village to have to go to, or developer or the village to have to go to the city to get permission to do something on our property, so hopefully we can get this resolved.
So does everybody agree with that chain of events? You know, we'll,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's-
Yes. Perfect.
But yeah, priority then is
Thank you,
to
Sean.
make it safe.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
Anything else, Steve?
No, yeah, we did speak about the street lighting.
Yes.
I think there was some poles replaced or
Yep.
something like that. There's some
Yeah,
details on-
Bob is all
on
over that, and actually
So-
Bob is switching as he can, the streetlights to LEDs. He was also working at switching, as a side, the traffic signals to LEDs too, so he's been on top of that, so every time a streetlight either gets ready to be replaced, the bulb goes out, or there's a problem, he goes down and we switch it to a LED, and they also change the head to make, if you can see the difference between the new heads and the old heads, they're much brighter.
Yeah. And then my only other, it was somewhat of a suggestion, I know, not to add some extra work, but on the 460 account, in particular, the snow removal, if there was a way that we could see kind of what the supplies are, you know, what the cost of the salt is
Yep.
versus the labor and the equipment and the
Yeah.
repairs.
Yeah, we could create a
Not
new
to-
line for salt,
yeah.
but that's the majority of his expenses, so
Yeah.
we contribute somewhat.
But other than that, yeah.
And I want to say, Steve, I would appreciate you sending me the email with the details and giving me
No,
time to review and everything.
No
like that. That was
problem,
very nice.
appreciate
Thank you.
speedy replies.
Do you know where we are this year with our snow budget? I should have asked earlier whether we were over or under, because we had a lot of small little storms.
5142, yeah, look, 5142, look at 101 first. I think we're good with that one, and, yeah, we got, and snow, and I don't think we'll have any more snow.
You never know, it's
And then
snowed for
460,
Easter
460,
before in
then
April.
460.
I know.
We have $348 left.
There you go. How's that for good
Fingers crossed.
budgeting?
Boy, Bob, you really went to the wire, didn't you?
All right. Well, that's some good budgeting then. Okay, any other board members have any questions or comments?
I just have one more, I'm
Sure.
sorry. Go ahead, Ann, go ahead.
No, go ahead, I'm good. I was gonna say, I have nothing to say. I said, thank you, Marcus, for the wonderful job he
I
did.
appreciate it. Thank you.
And thank you for answering every question that we've all had.
I appreciate it, thank you, Anthony.
You're very precise with your numbers.
I try.
I have one more question.
Of course.
Sorry. Page 43,
43.
on storm sewers. It looks like we had 10,000 budgeted for
Yes.
2022, but nothing actually expended.
Yeah, that's, the coding wasn't done correctly. Storm
Okay.
sewers is more the SSES that we have to do when these stormwater repairs. They've been putting it in the DPW line.
Okay.
So we're gonna try to reaccount that properly.
Okay.
Marcus, explain to them what we have to do with our storm sewers too, and George is on too.
So I'll let George do that. Hey, George,
Hey,
talk about
George.
the MS4 reporting we have to do, George.
Is that the WD contract?
No.
What is the WD contract?
Which one's the WD contract?
They're relining the manholes, right? Yeah. Oh,
Oh, that's done.
that's all finished, right?
That's all
Yeah.
done, that's all done. George, you still there?
Yeah, so, just so I understand, is this the MS4
Yes,
stormwater?
yes, stormwater,
Yeah.
yep, the process we have to do for that, yes.
So we have to report every year to the DEC our annual street sweepings, all the maintenance we do, all the work that we do, looking at outlets, cleaning outlets, and reporting and actually public awareness is part of it too. We have to put pamphlets out and let the public know not to dump things in the storm sewers. So that's that line item, if I understand it correctly. And the reporting isn't due, the cycle ends in March and it's due in June.
Okay.
And the other thing is the money that we have to spend to, the infiltration into the sewer treatment plant, the water, with the manholes.
Yeah, that's on the storm sewer, the storm sewer is separate from sanitary sewer. Yeah,
Right.
so in the sanitary sewer, George, to bring it up, when you talk
Yeah,
about
we'll talk
what we're
about that.
required to do on the DEC consent order, George.
So the DEC is requiring us under the consent to repair or bring our inflow and infiltration down, and we are scheduled to do televising of the sewer system every year, and we're scheduled to do some type of repair or maintenance. And we're on schedule. We're going into year 3 of a 5-year cycle, and our sewer infiltration rate has gone down. And like Marcus said, the repairs for last year have been made. We'll put something out this year for bid to do more TVing and more repairs. And we're on schedule, and we're moving forward with that.
And George, just for the layman, can you explain to everybody what I&I stands for, please?
Inflow and infiltration. So any type of water that comes from either rainwater that comes in that we don't want, or groundwater that comes into the system, either one of those two things.
And that can include illegal connections of, stump pumps in your basement connecting to sanitary sewer. That's something we have to try to
Yes.
catch under the DEC as well.
Because once that goes into our sewer, then we have to process it.
We have to process it, which is clean water, and it's a waste of money, yes. All right, good.
Okay, thank you, George. That's what I wanted you to explain to everyone. Okay, any other questions from the board, comments?
I just wanted to ask you,
sure.
has there been any attempt to sell that property that we had for sale on Blakely Avenue and Albany Post Road? I know we had it for sale for $325,000 and $450,000, and I was wondering if there would be, some desire by the board to hand it over to a real estate agent and get what we can get for it, just to get it on the tax rolls. There used to be 2 houses there that were taken from the owner probably about 40 or 50 years ago. It's been undeveloped. The steep slopes law has made it pretty untenable to blast in there. But somebody might want it for something. I believe somebody purchased a pile of rocks on Blakely Avenue just recently. So if they're gonna buy that pile of rocks, where I don't think they can actually do anything with, they might become a little more attractive on that area. At least there is a flat area where there used to be 2 houses. So that might bring in, even if it's only a couple $100,000, we can still get it back onto the tax rolls and have something done there.
I know we had the sign, that for sale sign for like
Yeah.
10, 15 years, and it finally fell down. I know Bob took that down, and there was.
We were
not
asking
much
for a
interest.
lot of money.
Oh, okay.
We were
Oh,
asking
okay,
for like
that's-
$450,000 or 320. I remember one was 325 and one was 450. It might have been 450 and 320, but I don't think anybody would pay $300,000 for that. But even if we can get $250,000 or 200,000 for it,
Something to look at, yeah. Yeah. Could put that back on the market or see what happens. You never know. You never know.
Well, we were handling the sale before. We didn't have a
Right.
real estate agent, and they'll probably do it for a percentage of the profits. We wouldn't
Right.
have to be
Right.
charged.
Right, they charge their fee.
Say again?
They charge their fee based upon
Yeah.
the sale of the property.
Yeah.
5%, I think it is, or something.
As long as we have like a minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, something to look at, sure. Why
Absolutely.
not?
Yep.
Why not?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know Eileen had a hand raised.
Okay, yeah.
There
yeah.
she
I know
goes.
you said somebody had their hand raised.
Okay, Eileen, you gotta unmute yourself and you can speak.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Okay, one thing about Lynn's Cove, I was there on Saturday night with my grandson taking a walk, and there was a truck there with a small trailer that backed down into, backed down the ramp and got his boat on his little trailer. It wasn't anything big, it was a small boat, but it still used the ramp. So just to let you know, that it happened. The other thing I was wondering, Marcus, in the budget, you have a recreation committee that is looking at what you would like to see the village do for the children or residents. And if there is repairs or if there's anything that you would like to replace, does that come out of that separate recreation fund that contractors have contributed to, or is that a line?
It could be a combination of both, Eileen. We have money set up for repairs, for like minor repairs. We have playground equipment repairs. But if there's a major item, definitely the board can consider taking the money out of the recreation fund, and that has to be done by the motion or the resolution by the village board.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Of course.
Or it could come out of our contingency funds, too.
Okay, I'm thinking-
So there are a couple of different avenues for revenue.
Yep, and that's your choice.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Cindy, I think, how much is in that recreation fund now that we have?
190,000.
Okay, all right. So. Okay, any other hands raised, any other questions there? Okay. All right, so we're going to adjourn. I'm going to make a motion to adjourn this, and we're going to, we have to have the budget voted on by May 1st. So our workshop on April 26th, we'll continue the public hearing then, and this way we can get whatever information that's needed. Any other questions, please get back to Marcus so we can work that out. And we're still waiting for some other information yet too, so.
Yeah, if you don't mind, if anybody has any questions for the public, please email me or call me anytime. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. So please feel free to do that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Because we have to go into also executive session to discuss some personnel things, but first, let me make a motion. I make a motion to adjourn the public hearing for our budget till April 26th, 2022 at the workshop meeting. Can I have a second?
I make a motion to adjourn.
That's a second.
Oh, I mean a second.
Second? All in
Oh, you
favor?
made a motion.
Aye.
Okay. So the next, we'll go into executive session to discuss personnel issues. On a motion to go into executive session.
Make a motion to enter into executive session to discuss personnel issues.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.